Hey folks, welcome to the video. This here is my main camera bag. This is what I use for pretty much anything when I've got to take all my photography gear with me. Here is a brand new camera bag, and this is the new version of this bag. So this is the Shimoda Explore 30, and this is the Shimoda Explore 25 version 2. Now, as you can see, this bag has been used a lot, and this one has been used very little. So rather than giving you an in-depth review of a bag that I haven't used very much, I'm going to give you an in-depth review from the point of view of someone who uses the original Explore a lot, and I'm going to talk about what's changed and what that means to me. Now, if you're not familiar with them, the defining feature of a Shimoda camera bag is this rear opening kind of panel here, which when you're inside, you can see that it has this cube system, and what that cube system means is that you can actually take it out. So for example, I can take this out and put it into another Shimoda bag. I can put this in its own little case and take it with me. That's kind of the defining feature of this camera bag system. It's this camera cube thing. Now, we'll look at the inside in a minute. First of all, I just want to talk about the outside of the bag. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is just the very front of the bag. The big clear difference here is there's a zip across the front. On the original, it's just one panel, you can see, and on here we have the zip across the front. It seems like a trivial thing, but it's actually, you know, it's quite useful. So this big pocket here is kind of as is on the other one. One thing I will note is actually this whole bag feels much more padded. These kind of layers here are much more padded than the original. I think that's the case. I'm not seeing that written anywhere, but I'm pretty sure that it's more padded. So we have big pocket at the front, and this goes the entire way, and you have another layer to it here. So that's, you know, you can fit something in here and fit something in there. You have these two pouches just here, and these were not on the original, so these are new as well, which is really handy. There's lots of little pockets. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Now here you have, this is just a simple pocket. Again, still feels really padded here. Now this pocket here and this pocket here means that you've basically got the exact same size as the front of the original, but now you can carry, you know, much more stuff. And it's those extra little pockets which are really useful to someone like me. Here we have this side pocket, and you can access the camera cube inside, and you can actually access your camera through here. I don't do that much, but you know, you can do that. Now there's a really nice little addition here. As I said, lots and lots of little pockets, and this is for, you know, putting your passport and things like that. That's what they're sort of talking about. But for me, I travel around the UK much more than I travel on planes, so I don't carry a passport that often. So for me, what these little pockets mean is that, you know, I don't know if this happens for you, but when I've got my camera bag out, it's all great at the beginning, but by the end of the trip, everything's chaotic. I've got batteries everywhere, cables everywhere, and I don't know which batteries are charged or not charged. So for example, for me, these little pockets, like the ones at the front here, separating them all out, it means I can label it and say, hey, all my dead batteries are going to go in there, so that I don't, you know, get confused. I could put, you know, a battery pack charging something in here, and it would just sit nicely and kind of out of the way. It's the sort of thing that once you've packed it in, you just don't need to worry about it, and dead batteries are a really good example of that. Once they're dead, you don't need them until you get home. So I really like that, having these little extra pockets. Now also on this side here, we have this system which was on the original Explore, but they've made a few changes. Now this feels a little bit smaller. On the original, it always felt a little bit big, like your tripod just flapping around a bit, but this I think is smaller. Don't quote me on that, but it feels tighter anyway. So what happens here is you put your tripod in there, and then you extend it through, and it sort of sits your tripod on the side. Now you had that on one side on the original, and in this one you have that on both sides. So the good thing here is not so much that you can carry two tripods, it's more that you can choose which side you carry it on, and that's really useful because it means, you know, having these variables means that you're more likely to find your own way of using it, which I really like. Now, you know, not that you necessarily would, but you've got access to here, and this actually has two layers in it. So for example, you can stuff this into that pocket, and inside of here has two layers. So you can still use that pocket, and it's not being interrupted by that kind of flappy tripod holder part or water bottle holder, which I really like. There's a handle here which was on the original Explore, but it is now bigger, which means you can now fit this over like roller luggage, which means that you can carry it on top of your roller luggage if you weren't carrying it on your back. And sometimes, you know, having a bit of a breather on your back is a really good thing, so that's quite good if you're traveling. You have the waist straps at the front here, which are very similar to the original Explore. They're a bit more breathable, but they are still removable, and you just have to undo the Velcro in there and you pull that out. Now this is the 25-litre version, so I probably wouldn't carry the waist straps, and I love that. I love that I can remove it. I have a camera bag that I used years and years ago. It's probably my longest serving camera bag, and the thing that frustrated me the most was that the waist strap wasn't removable, and it used to do my head in because these things just flap about and annoy me so much. But you know, if you're carrying weight, it's obviously very important. But for the most part, when I'm out for the day, it's really nice to be able to take that off and just leave it in the van. Okay, so now we have the top of the bag, and if we have a look in here, they've kind of swapped the pockets around so that now that you can access the camera cube from the other one, but not this one here. So in here, I don't know if you can see that well, but you have one long pocket across here with a net, and then another one on the bottom here, and then a large space in the middle. You can put jacket, whatever in there. In here, this actually comes with the rain cover in this section, and you have your kind of key holder, so you can keep your keys on here, can't get out of that pocket, and if you unclip it, you can then use your keys, clip it back on, so you can keep that on your key ring. That's really handy because you do not want to lose your keys when you're on top of a mountain and then get to the bottom and find you have to walk back up the mountain. Another thing here, this is really padded compared to the other one. This is really padded. This is going to freak out a lot of photographers, but what I actually do with this pocket, I generally keep my 70-200 in there. There's space for it in the other bit, but what happens is I'm walking along, I've got my little baby 35mm on, and then I'll swap it for the 70-200, which is my most kind of common transition between lenses. And then I'll swap back. I don't really want to bother taking my bag off and opening the back, so I kind of just put it in the top here. Now I feel a lot better knowing it would be in there with all this padding. You know, sorry if that freaks out photographers, but that's the way I am. So this other pocket here. Now from this pocket you can access the camera cube if you needed to. You also can access the laptop holder here. This is actually an iPad, but I think you can get a MacBook in there, one of the M1 type MacBooks, that size. There's another pocket in here, which is fantastic. There's pockets everywhere in this bag, which is brilliant. And you know, and this kind of means that you can get a bigger camera cube in there if you wanted to. And what I will probably do is get a smaller camera cube and put it in top ways here, because this top bit is so much more rigid now that it feels like that would be a pretty good option. And that means I could put my 70-200 in there, but I'll probably actually just put my drone in there instead. So the camera cube is here, and I'm just going to take this out and talk about it on its own, because what's great is you've obviously got the side here with your camera access, and what I've done is I've kind of split this part here. That means that it's kind of tapered, which means that your camera fits in like that. It didn't come like that, but I'm presuming that's how it's designed because of the way that you can put your camera in and out, and the way that these are not fixed and they don't Velcro on. So in here right now, this is not necessarily my setup, but there's a 90mm, there's an 85, there's a microphone, you never know, and then 50, and then this tiny little 24mm. This is actually the lens that I use to normally record these YouTube videos. Right now I'm on a 16-35 just so I can get it super wide so you can see everything that I'm doing. If I really wanted to, I could get that 70-200 in there instead of, you know, the 24 thing. So here we go, 24 in there, 90mm in there, 50, 85. This is not necessarily my setup, but again, I'm just showing you what you can get in this tiny little box. Yeah, microphone in there, and then you've got a bit of space here for some batteries. So let's pop that back in. As I said, I've got the iPad Pro in here. The biggest one, I don't know what size this is, but it's the biggest one. Fits in there, and this, again, feels slightly more padded than the other one, and obviously there's enough padding here to protect it. All of this mesh stuff here is more breathable than on the original, and you know, again, the waist straps, we've kind of talked about that, but they are breathable themselves. Straps are made out of the same material, and there's another thing to note here as well. A lot of photographers use these. The Peak Design capture clip, if you're not familiar with this system, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it's just a way of carrying your camera on your strap. It's really good, made by Peak Design, not Shimoda, but the straps on the Shimoda bags can take the capture clip, and I've put one on here and it's fine. I took it off for this review, but that's really good. Here you've got pocket for your mobile phone, and this is slightly different as well. On the original Explore, it was an elastic case that you could put a bottle in. Here they've given you a zip, so you can use the pocket for a few more things, but you still have this kind of expandable sort of thing with a bit of elastic on the side, so you can still get a bottle in there, but if you wanted to put something that you didn't want to fall out in there, you do have the option of the zip. Now this one's for a mobile phone. This is the iPhone 11. It's not the biggest phone you can get, but I understand this can take the biggest of phones. This goes in here absolutely no problem. So if you're one of those Instagram photographers just like me who like being able to get your phone out at a moment's notice, then yeah, this is perfect. Another really well thought out part of this pocket here, which they're talking about, you know, is this little bit of sort of a belt in there, and what this means is you can take something like this is a microphone system and you can clip it onto there. Lots of people use these, really great for sort of vlogging and, you know, YouTubey stuff. And that goes on there, and it means that you've got it nice and tidy and it's not going to interfere with anything. Just a really nice little feature that they've thought of. And it just shows how well they're adapting their bags to the way that people have been using them and the way that things are kind of changing. So to summarize this bag, I think this is a very well thought out, good adaptation of the original Explore bag. They seem to have really looked at how people are using it and made changes to the bag. The material feels as strong, if not stronger, and the whole bag itself feels more padded and more kind of rigid, and to be honest, just kind of more up for it. I said at the beginning that I haven't had a chance to properly use this bag, and I'm actually really excited to get out there with it. So as I said, Shimoda sent this bag over for free. I've bought the Action X and the Explore myself, so I'm obviously a big fan of the ecosystem, but they sent this one over for free. It's currently in Kickstarter mode. I'll leave a link to the Kickstarter. It's only going to be there for a few days after me posting this video, so go and take a look at all the details. There's way more to learn about this bag than I've shown in this video, and there's some other great videos from loads of great creators all over the internet. And the intention behind this video is to give you a bit of context into what this bag is like in relation to its predecessor, and I hope you've got that from this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button, and if you're one of my subscribers, hey, and I'll see you in the next video.